everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a really special guest. And Tam, you and I haven't spoken before, I don't think, other than the back and forth between the Educator Summit. But I've been following you for a long time and been a huge admirer of yours. So can you tell everybody about you? I know they know you from Instagram for sure, but tell everybody about you and kind of where you are and all of that good stuff.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you for having me. I don't know if people will know who I am because I feel like a lot of Australians know who I am, but yeah, so I am Tam. I'm Mrs. Learning Bee on Instagram. So you can probably hear from my accent that I am based in Australia. So it's what time is it with you right now?
It's 5:30 in the afternoon, so it's like dinner time. And you are, what time are you there?
It's 10:30 in the morning. So
Oh, at least that's good. It wasn't like you had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
no, it worked well.
Oh,
We were traveling in the US recently and actually found there's a lot of overlap in our timings, which is
oh, that's good. That's
really
good.
handy.
My
Yeah.
husband was in Australia. It's been a few years ago, like quite a few years ago, but he was in Australia. And so I do know there were certain times of the day that I could talk to him, but when I was in the classroom, it made it kind of hard. But
Yes.
so you have a platform. I know you talk a lot about, tell everybody what you talk about. I know what you talk about. Tell everybody what you talk about.
Yeah, so I was in the classroom for over 10 years. So I was predominantly, and so I was teaching and I was also an assistant principal. And I was predominantly in K-2 classrooms, which is funny because that's totally where my heart is in terms of, I think that's where I really grew to love building those really strong foundations with kids. But if you had asked me at the start of my career, I thought I was a 3 to 6 teacher through and through.
Yeah.
And I was put on kindergarten for my first full-time year. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is just the worst thing that could have happened to me. But yeah, the rest is history because I absolutely fell in love with it. And yeah, so I just feel like those 10 years, I was just really able to refine, like building those really strong foundations with kids. And so my kind of big passions are evidence-based literacy, particularly phonics and learning to read and write. So that's obviously a lot of what I talk about on my Instagram. And then another big passion is like the social emotional side of things and like setting kids up really to just deal with everything that life is going to throw at them. So those are kind of my two big passions, if you like. And so, yeah, I left the classroom at the end of 2021 and now I just work full time supporting teachers and I don't know, trying to upskill them with professional learning and creating resources for them. And then my husband, who's a software developer, he quit his job and we founded a teaching website called The Hive. So that's like a all-in-one teaching platform that the teachers can have up in their classroom. And it's got like educational apps and videos and organizational tools. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Yeah, of course, I've been following you for a while. And what I love about what you share, they're like little bite-sized pieces on Instagram, at least, is what I've been noticing, like really bite-sized pieces of things like, I don't know if everybody knows, how that phonics sounds works, right? And so I love that. If people haven't found you, I mean, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, make sure that you find her on Instagram. Mrs. Learning's Bee, right?
Mrs. Learning Bee,
Am I saying that right? Learning Bee. I didn't put an S on there. Somebody asked about that triangle jar that I have on there. So if you have your name enabled, if you're watching this in the Facebook group, you just have to agree to have your name public. And then as you comment, your name goes in the jar, and we're going to be pulling somebody out to win a ticket to the Educator Summit for this winter session. And if you already have the winter ticket, then we would just give you the summer ticket. So it's a win-win, or you can give it to somebody. If you feel generous, you can give it to somebody, maybe somebody you work with or a team, somebody that maybe you work with somebody and they're like, they really need to know this, then you can give them that ticket as well. So you really talk a lot about the science of reading, right?
Yeah.
Kind of that science of reading approach. Were you ever a balanced literacy teacher, or were you right from the beginning?
I feel really lucky that, like in my first year of teaching, I had this intensive training in explicit phonics instruction. And so I feel like from very early on, I was working with like decodable words and sentences and like all of the good things. Well, we'll talk a bit more, I'm sure, in a minute about my session, but like I feel like the one kind of gap in my teaching was in terms of sight words, and that's something that kind of came later. I know I wasn't doing that correctly from the start.
Right. So tell everybody kind of what you are going to be talking about with high frequency words.
Yeah, so my session is called Why I Threw Out My Sight Word Flashcards, and then it's got a little byline like, and what to do instead. And so, yeah, like I said, I feel very lucky that I was, using a lot of evidence-based practices from the start. And but the one thing I wasn't teaching well was sight words. And like we all were, I was teaching kids just to memorize these words and expecting them to learn them. And so kind of my presentation walks through kind of my evolution as a teacher and how my teaching practice has evolved over time as I've become more aware of like what the research actually shows in terms of what is an effective way to teach those words to kids. And so then we unpack in quite a lot of detail what an evidence-based approach is, what that looks like for teaching high frequency words. And yeah, my kind of goal is that teachers will leave the session feeling really confident to be able to go into their classrooms the next day and just know how to teach high frequency words effectively so that our kids actually learn them. So yeah, there'll be lots of really practical tips and strategies. But yeah, that's kind of my goal. And it's very much me sharing like my journey and, all the ways I wasn't getting it right as well for a long time, because I think it's something that, where we are having to shift our practices a bit. And so I think it's hopefully helpful to kind of see where I was going wrong as well and how I've kind of learned over the years and listened to the research.
The high frequency words is the thing that got me interested in the science of reading. So I kind of went up from the opposite side.
Yeah.
I think it said, how do you teach high frequency words or sight words? I was like, well, I don't really teach them. I assign them. And so then I started to like Google, how do you teach high frequency? And so all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. And it took me down this rabbit hole, which was the best rabbit hole ever. Because it really changed, because I was 100% all in balanced literacy. I learned from Fontes and Pinnell. We had experts come over from New Zealand and Australia, work with us on guided reading. I mean, we did all the things. And so it's hard when you realize that you had one belief and then to find out that that belief was maybe misguided or not complete. In my case, it was misguided, and yours wasn't complete until you dug deeper and found sort of the secret.
Yeah. And it's a really, look, it's so exciting to see the shift. And I feel like, we're all seeing it across social media, and, there's still a lot to do, but it's confronting as well, because it's hard to kind of look at the way you were teaching for so long. And all of us only want to be the best teachers that we can possibly be. And we've been guided by people who we were told were experts, and we were told to trust these people. And so, yeah, it's hard to kind of have to look deep at what you've been doing and to kind of have to shift our mindset sometimes. But I think I feel so lucky that there's so much information out there. There's people like you and me and so many others who are actually there helping and supporting teachers with this. Yeah.
And like the idea that we never stop learning, because I would imagine, maybe if you and I were to have this conversation 2 years from now, we might have some new understanding, right? Based on new things that have come out.
Yeah.
The journey's never
over. No,
it's never over. So I think that I definitely think one of the things, Emily Hamford's going to be on a little bit later on.
I know. Oh, amazing.
I know. Yeah, seriously, when I met her, I cried the first time. I was like, I'm going to be such an adult. And then I went up to her and I was like, oh my God. And she's probably like, you're crazy. But she was so kind. She's so generous. But one thing that she said was, she said that to remain curious. And I love that.
Love that too. Yes.
I know. Just to remain curious. So like we are constantly learning new things. And even though sometimes, some of the things that I might share, people have heard before. Sometimes you need to hear it a few times before you really internalize it, right? And then know how to, how to have that applied in the classroom. Like it's like somebody was talking about Velcro, how like this information just kind of sticks, and then pretty soon, the Velcro collects all kinds of understanding. So I thought that was a good analogy too.
I love that
analogy that you wanted to talk about. Now I don't know if you wanted to save that for your session, or if you wanted to talk about the tip.
No, yes, because you asked if I had like a teaching hack or tip, and I'm going a little bit rogue because I've got more of an analogy that I hope will kind of help shift teaching mindset, I guess. It's more of a tip for teaching mindset. So yeah, it's an analogy that really helped me to understand, like when we're thinking about high frequency words and why memorizing those words is not an effective way of teaching those words. And so if we think about our minds like a smartphone, like iPhone or whatever smartphone you've got, in order to be successful readers, we need to learn, or we would need to memorize between 30 to 70,000 words. And if we're memorizing them, they're like little pictures. So to be able to read really successfully, we would need to store up to 70,000 pictures in our minds. And so if we think about phones, when I don't know if your phone's anything like mine, it's forever running out of storage. And what's the thing that we need to get rid of? It's photos, because they're the things that take up the most room. Right. And so it's kind of the same with our minds, that they don't have the capacity to just hold this enormous amount of pictures, of words in their minds. And so I don't know, that just really resonated. When I heard it, I went, yes, that just makes sense. Like, yes, there are kids that absolutely, we've seen them, that they just memorize the words and they do learn to read. But for the vast majority of kids, they cannot store all those words in their mind. And so that's where we see the gaps, and that's where we see the kids falling behind. So yeah, I just think it's a helpful way to kind of, like I was saying before, it can be quite confronting to have to think, oh, I've got to shift my teaching practice away from something I've always done and that I was taught to do. I taught kids to memorize.
We're taught to learn too.
Yes, it's exactly how we were learned. I took home word lists of sight words when I was a kid. And so it's quite confronting to go, oh, all of this way of knowing how to do something for decades, we have to shift and challenge that. And so for me, it was quite a helpful analogy to go, that makes sense though, why we need to shift, because it's not an effective way of teaching kids. And the effective way is giving them the tools and the strategies to read an infinite number of words. And they can read hundreds of thousands of words. They don't need to try and memorize them. So yeah, I hope that that's just kind of a helpful little mindset shift. And obviously I'll unpack that in a lot more detail in my presentation. But yeah, it's an ongoing journey. Yeah.
I love that. And the other thing is that oftentimes we hear, well, they're a really good reader, but their spelling isn't so good. And so that's really the disconnect between memorizing and learning and like knowing.
And having the knowledge of like why we're using that spelling, or why that spelling is different, or all of those sorts of things. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I love that. Yeah, I love that. Well, I am super excited to have you. This is your first, hopefully not your last. Hopefully you'll come back and be a presenter for us. We have so many great people, and it's a collection of all of the people that really make our summit, I feel like something that teachers just keep coming back for more. So I'm really, really excited to have you, as part of the lineup, part of the team. And I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do.
Oh, I'm so excited. And like you said,
did I say that right? I don't think I said that right. But anyhow, I'm excited. Hopefully you're excited. That's what I meant.
I'm very excited, and the lineup is incredible. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm honored. And thank you so much. I know that you are going to get on with your day. She was saying like 10, it's 10:30 there. So we are 10:45, right? So she's just starting her day, and the rest of us are kind of winding down. But anyhow, I loved having you. Let's bring Jackie in.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. I know you probably need to get on with your day. So if you want to say goodbye.
Yep, I'll head off. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, talk to you. And let's bring Jackie in, and let's see if I can do this right. Okay. What? There she is.
Hey.
Hi, friend. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just said your babies are over here.
I know.
I know. They're over there.
They can't be corn bandits.
from their candy corn, binge eating they did the other day. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but they like ate a whole bag of candy corn.
I can put down a bag of candy corn in like an hour
You know
myself.
what? I don't know what it is. People either love it or hate it. And I have this candy corn thing where I think, if one's good, 25 or better. Um, and that's actually what happened with the dogs. Kind of my fault because I was going to do this little craft. So I had to open the bag. And I thought, well, I'll just have one and two. And then I put it up high and I went upstairs and I came back. And so it was open and the smell is just,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Especially a fresh bag of candy corn. Oh, it's over. It's over.
My mom said, I'm in town. Do you need anything? I said, well, can you bring candy corn? And then after I did the craft, I had to throw it away because I'm like, I cannot eat 2 bags, right? I cannot eat 2 bags of candy corn. That would just be absolutely horrible.
Ever.
I'm not saying I haven't done it before. I'm just saying it could be really bad. Okay, so I'm not easy to hear. Lisa, maybe I'll bring my mic down here. Maybe that's better. Let me know, Lisa, if that's better.
Like a little bit of feedback, like not feedback, but it's like
a little echo. I'm going to bring my
yes.
sound down. It might be my speakers. So I'm going to bring my sound down. How about that? Is that?
No, it's almost like a rattle. Like when you talk, it's almost like a rattle.
That's probably just in my head. You know what it could be? It could be my hearing aids. Let me take those out. Is that any better?
No. I don't know.
Gosh. Uh-oh. Okay, well, now I can't hear you, but that's okay. No, I can read your lips.
No,
Keep your lipstick on.
No.
I don't know why it has a rattle. Uh-oh.
It's okay.
It's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. So, Jackie, this is year 3.
Yes.
Right?
This will be the 4th. This will be the 4th.
You're rolling into year 4. It'll be like your 5th. So you've done summer, winter. Summer.
3 summers.
3 summers, 1 winter.
1 winter.
And now this will be second winter.
No, this is my first winter.
Your first winter. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a little muffled. I wonder what that is. Let me turn that. Let's see. Is that any better?
No, still here.
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to have a meltdown, y'all. I'm not going to have a meltdown.
Don't melt down.
I'm a little muffled. I may have to just restart though before I start my next one. But tell everybody because it's not about what I have to say, it's about what you have to say anyhow. Tell everybody about what you're going to be presenting on.
I'm presenting on building strong community partnerships. So how to, look outside of the school, look into the community for resources and how those resources can help benefit the school and the students and their families.
So you're talking about community partners, not necessarily parents, but could also be parents.
It could be parents. You have businesses. And when you think about it, when schools first began, they were really community-based schools. And the community rallied around the school. Whatever the teachers needed, the support, it was there. And we've moved away from community schools, but I see that starting to make a comeback where we have more schools in our neighborhoods. I know in Tennessee, they passed where it's a choice. You can go to any school as long as there's seats, but you still have students who have the right to go to that school because they are zoned within that a certain radius. But really, the way education has gone the last several years, there's really been a big pushback against public education, and we really need to take over that, that topic, that concern, and as schools bring the community in and show them what we really do rather than what other people say we're doing. Bring them in and make them a part of it, help them become decision makers in what's happening in the schools. But we need to drive the conversation ourselves. And the best way to do that is to open the school and bring those community partners in.
Yeah. And, I think that people who aren't in the classroom have this perception of what, a classroom teacher does all day, and may not know all of the challenges that you're faced on a daily basis. So having those community partners also help make or support you, or provide support so that you can help solve problems is also probably part of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember years ago when we would do fundraisers, and a parent was asking me, why do you do so many fundraisers? I said, because we only receive $200 from the state to spend in our classroom for an entire year.
Yeah.
And there are so many things that I want to accomplish or my students need that I can't get with just $200, especially if you're paying for copies, you're paying for your own ink, you're, those the kids need supplies. Not all districts provide those things. So you're really, a lot of teachers come out of pocket. I know I've spent up to $2,000 a year out of my own pocket to provide for my kids. But if we had community support, some of those things, it would take some of that financial burden off of schools, but it also will could provide experiences for those students.
Tracy said the last couple of years she's got nothing. She hasn't got anything. Yeah.
In the position I'm in as a reading interventionist, I still get the $200. But I don't spend as much on my students because I don't have a main group. I have students that come and go.
Right.
But I know classroom teachers, we want to make lessons and fun and engaging, but that costs money. And if you can get some support from the community, that would be helpful.
Right. Well, and it may not just be financial support. It could just be moral support, and maybe, find that we have more things in common that we want to solve than we don't. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're always saying that we want to prepare students for a future. We want to prepare them for a career. Well, some of that may mean bringing people from the community in so that they can see what careers are available in that area. Or just careers that are available, period, to them, and exposing them to those careers and kickstarting some of that imagination that, oh, well, this may be the thing that I want to do, some of that curiosity for them. I know my school is getting ready to do an event with vehicles, different career vehicles. So we have someone that has planned all this out. We're going to have vehicles from Amazon, the police department, an ambulance, fire department, AT&T, those kinds of things, those kinds of vehicles, so that kids can come and see, oh, yes, the vehicle is cool, but also learn about the career that goes along with that.
Right. And Donna was saying that there are organizations willing to help, like Amazon and Nissan for starters. And so, I think that there's some big organizations, and then there's also some smaller ones as well, right? And we always have donors choose, but I don't know any other place where, people have to crowdfund, right? Necessarily to do their job. And although I know teachers do it all the time, and I get it, if the community can see where those gaps are, they might be also able to have a voice in the way that local money is spent, or be part of the statewide or even national conversation about how schools are funded.
Absolutely. And even just having events outside where people can come and see, and parents coming in. Sometimes parents are like, hey, I think my job can help with this. I see you're doing this thing. My job can help. I know when I was in kindergarten, we decided to do a community helpers day. So we pulled in different community helpers. I even included my trainer, my personal trainer. So I had him come in and show, like, this is a career that you could also do. So the kids did little drills with them, and we did it in a rotation. We had a baker. Every kid got to decorate and ice a cookie. We had an exterminator, a parent that was an exterminator, but we asked people from within our school community that we knew to come in and expose our kindergartners to different careers. And the kids absolutely loved it.
I'm seeing some virtual events 2023. That's interesting. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
I don't know. That could be a Facebook thing. I have no idea. It's very interesting. I don't know. Watch online TV. I don't know what that is. I'll have to go investigate that. We might have to do something about that. But what is what I've been asking other people, like one thing that they can maybe take back to their classroom, a tip that you might have, related or unrelated, it's up to you, to what you're going to be talking about this winter.
I think just not being afraid to ask parents, like, what career are you doing and how can that, help our students?
Right.
Like I said, we want to show kids different careers, um, different jobs. So even just sending home a form saying, hey, we're looking, these are the skills or the topics we're going to cover during this grading period. Do you, have something that you could provide? Not necessarily send something in, but do you have some information that we could get about your job, or even send in some tools or those kinds of things that could help me bridge the gap between school and real life? Because that's the thing a lot of kids are missing, that when we're talking about things in school, if we don't connect it to real life, it's just, oh, this is something I just have to learn at school.
Right.
So we want to bridge that gap and say, it's not just academic learning, but it's life learning. We want you to see that this is something you can use in the future in the real world.
Right. It's not abstract. It's right there.
No.
Right. I know a lot of people do units like on even like plants and trees. I know that's a big part of a curriculum. I can't recall what it is, but there's a curriculum that has these units. And I was just thinking, if you have a local nursery, or if you even have, I lived in an area that was very agricultural when I taught. And so we went like to the dairy farm. I mean, just different ways that we could talk about, food sources and all of the things leading up to that. Having those people come in it was fun and engaging, but it also really stuck with people as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's we're a STEM designated school. And so every grade level has a unit for every 9 weeks. And so we have our STEM coordinator contacts people in the community and says, hey, our kids are learning about this. Could you come in and provide, something, talk to our kids? I know our second graders talked about bats. And so they had an organization come in and the kids had the opportunity to build a bat house.
Very cool.
So those kinds of things, bridging that real world gap and using what I know and what I've learned in class to really put something out there in the real world.
Love it.
So every grade level has an opportunity to have someone come in. Like last week, kindergarten had a meteorologist come in from the local news station and talk to the kids about weather as a startup for their weather unit.
Love it. Love it. So many ideas. I can't wait for your session. It's always so good.
Well, thank you.
So good.
It was a little hard I was like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? But I think, I think this will be good.
I think it's really important. And I do think, we are in a time where, we don't want to isolate ourselves from the communities in which we live. I know sometimes our communities can kind of get bad press, but boy, if you can get them to be with you and support you, and then you also understand what their concerns are, just that conversation, I think is really
absolutely
important. Love it. I'm going to go ahead and pull a winner out of the widget jar. So if you haven't put a comment in there yet, make sure you do. And it's for the Educator Summit. So I think Kayla's here. She might be able to drop a link in for the Educator Summit if you haven't registered yet. If you've already registered and you're a winner, then you will get either you can gift it to somebody or you can get the Summer Summit ticket. Okay. All right, there we go. Fingers crossed, Laura says. Here we come. Last few minutes to put your names in there, and we'll go ahead and draw somebody out. Yay, yay, yay. All right, let's go ahead and, they're all coming in.
Oh, no.
There's Kayla. One time pulled my own name out of there. So that was, yeah, probably not good. Okay. So let's go ahead and get that winner. And the winner is Kathy Hall. So,
Yay,
yay,
Kathy.
Kathy. Winner, chicken dinner. Kathy Hall is our winner. And so, Kathy, you're going to want to email. Yay. Donna says, thanks for the nuggets.
Here's a thing about Donna's my aunt.
Yes.
Yes,
Is Donna your favorite aunt?
she's one of them.
Yeah. You love all of your aunts equally.
I do. I love
Yeah.
all of my relatives.
Yeah. So Kathy, you're going to email, it's going to be support. I have to say this, the educatorsummit.com. There we go. So just email, oh, she already got it. Kayla's on it.
There she is.
Of course she is. She's like the best. If you could just email her, she's going to hook you up. And I know that many of you are excited about Emily Hanford. I am as well. We're going to end this broadcast. I'm going to start back in in exactly 30 minutes. And she's going to be with us for about 15 minutes. So set your timer. If you're going to go do something, set the timer for 30 minutes and then come back, because I'm very excited, but a little bit nervous. So I need all of your moral support as well. So that's it. Hillary's here also. Love it.
You'll do wonderful.
Yeah.
You'll be wonderful.
I mean, as long as I don't cry like I did when I met her in real life.
I cried when I met you.
And then you're like, oh, now I know her. So
Yeah.
I have a whole different,
Yes.
oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how, I did get to meet her and she's so human. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think we all are. I think we're all just humans doing different jobs. So, but boy, she changed a lot of people's lives. So I'm really excited. So I'll see you guys back in about 30 minutes. Jackie, you want to hang out with me while we say goodbye to everybody?
Sure.
All right, bye, everybody.